Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us to learn how to maximize return on your CRM. We have two very senior and knowledgeable people in this area that are going to really educate us and take us through the funnel. I'm very excited to introduce Kate Leggett, Vice President and Principal Analyst of Forrester, and really one of the industry experts on how customers are leveraging the CRM and the applications on top of them to get explosive growth. And then Mick Hollison, who's been a CMO and senior marketing expert at many Fortune 100 companies throughout the world and has leveraged the CRMs to help build explosive growth companies. We're going to have Kate go through some strategic items and how Forrester, the research they see and where people are leveraging CRM. And then Mick go through some more details and strategic, tactical items on how they're actually being used. And then we'll have some Q&A at the end. So from now, I'll turn the time over to Kate.
So thanks, Ivan. And thanks to all of you for listening to our webinar on extending the value of your CRM with sales acceleration tools. So to start this discussion off, I really want to focus on buyers' expectations during the sales cycle. And your buyers' expectations during the sales cycle are changing. Buyers, whether they're B2B buyers or B2C buyers, they demand easy, effective interactions when they engage with a sales organization. They also want interactions during the sales cycle to be personal, to be contextualized to their situation, to their industry, to their particular situation, so that an emotional bond is established between the buyer and the sales team. So let's look at these three drivers, these three expectations from a buyer's perspective. So easy experiences. Buyers expect to be able to contact the company, the salesperson, over the channel and touch point of their choice, which are increasingly trending to digital channels, mobile touch points, to get the information that they need to be able to answer a question that they may have, for example. They expect effective experiences. Buyers, they want their time to be valued, which means that every interaction, every conversation has to be relevant, has to provide accurate information that meets or exceeds the buyer's expectations so that the sales process from discovery to getting the final order can move along smoothly. And buyers don't want a one-size-fits-all type of engagement. They want engagement and conversations to be personal, to be contextualized to their particular situation, which takes into account their industry, their pain points, perhaps even their prior purchase history with your company, their history of interactions that they have had with your sales team, and details about the scenario which they're trying to address with the purchase. So what this means is that the salesperson has to be able to deliver these easy, these effective interactions to the buyer. And every interaction, again, needs to build upon this emotional connection between the salesperson and the buyer. And they have to harvest, sales teams have to harvest and use all the knowledge about a company and about the buyer to provide deeply personalized experiences, which could include, for example, recommending the right product or cross-sells or upsells that have value to the customer. And they have to focus on providing these deeply productive experiences to the sales team, which map to streamlined processes across organizational silos, and which really contain as little administrative overhead as possible. Again, to be able to deliver engagement experiences during the sales cycle in line with buyers' expectations. So, why is it so important to meet your buyers' expectations for engagement? And it's really because the power of the modern buyer has changed. In the past, companies controlled all the information about a product or service. For example, its price, specification, features and functions, and how it was used to deliver business value. So what happened a decade ago was that social media came on the stage and ushered in what Forrester calls the age of the customer. And today there's transparency about the information that's relevant to products and services, from its specifications to case studies to how the product or service is rated and reviewed by other customers. And what this means is that customers today, they sit in the driver's seat. They control the conversation that they have with the companies that they're doing business with. And because of this, companies have to be a lot more obsessed with delivering experiences in line with customer expectations to be able to garner their satisfaction and their long-term loyalty to the brand. And this isn't only true in the B2C world, it's also true in the B2B world. And you just look around you, and there's industries that have undergone big shifts. For example, even insurance or financial services or healthcare, where it's really easy to see ratings and reviews of, for example, financial services products or insurance policies, even your healthcare providers. And a buyer can quickly amass and compare all the available information about a product and service of interest even before contacting the company for more specific information. And that is why it's so important today for companies to provide these experiences in line with your buyer's expectations to help nurture the relationship, to make the sale. And then once you've made the sale, to keep the customer satisfied for the duration of the relationship that they have with your company. So, what we know at Forrester is delivering good customer experiences during the sales cycle and once the customer has been onboarded has a quantifiable revenue impact. Has a quantifiable impact to the top line revenue of your company. And it's important to understand that a buyer who has a good experience during the sales cycle with you, a satisfied buyer corresponds to a loyal customer. And a loyal customer is one is more likely to keep their business with you, who is more likely to consider another purchase from your company, like a cross-sell or an upsell, or perhaps a completely new product or service. A loyal customer is also one that's more likely to serve as an advocate for your company, for the products and services of your company. And customer advocacy helps drive future new sales. So net-net, we care about delivering good customer experiences because they're ultimately good for the business and they impact top-line revenue. So what we find at Forrester is that CRM is used as a foundation for delivering better customer engagement throughout a buyer's journey with a company. So our data shows that over 2/3 of enterprises and mid and small companies all use CRM as a foundation for better customer engagement. And CRM is a huge software category. It's valued as a $26 billion category this year. It's projected to grow by 11% this year and 13% next year. And what we see is that even though CRM is a huge software category, companies have always struggled to get the true value out of their CRM. And in a study that we ran a couple years ago, we found that 2/3 of companies who had invested in CRM were struggling with data management issues. For example, to create a single view of the customer and a single view of customer data and information. We saw that half the companies out there were struggling with data quality issues. just under half the companies we surveyed were struggling to create customer insights to help drive decision-making, to measure the results of their CRM implementations. We also saw that over 40% of companies were having trouble in being agile, meaning making it easy to change existing business processes to better align with customer expectations. And we also saw that companies were struggling to attract the right skill set. For example, the right salespeople for their operations. And so what it means that in many cases, CRM, even though it's such a huge category and it's used by 2/3 of companies out there to deliver good experiences in line with customer expectations, CRM wasn't living up to its expectations to empower employees to deliver better customer experiences. And companies were missing the mark on delivering these experiences to keep their buyers satisfied with the sales engagement, to keep their customers satisfied during the duration of their engagement with a company. And companies were ultimately not seeing the revenue uplift in that comes from delivering these good customer experiences. So one of the ways that companies are getting more value out of their CRM in order to empower salespeople to better interact with buyers on their terms in a way that meets their expectations is to deploy CRM in the cloud. And what you're looking at on the screen here is some of our recent survey data. And in our recent data, we saw that 49% of companies had already replaced or they were planning to replace their Salesforce automation solution with cloud solutions. And another 32% were using or they were planning to use cloud sales automation solutions to complement their existing on-premise CRM. And then we also saw similar numbers for marketing automation. Half of companies out there had already replaced or they were planning to replace their marketing automation solutions with cloud solutions. Another 31% were planning to use cloud marketing automation solutions to complement their existing on-premise CRM. So when you look at historical data, we saw that companies were accelerating their adoption to cloud CRM. And in a single year, we saw that the penetration of cloud sales automation solutions to complement or to replace on-premise solutions had jumped from 34% to 49%. Cloud marketing automation solutions or penetration of cloud marketing automation solutions also jumped in that year from 35% to 50%. And even customer service being deployed in the cloud jumped from 31% to 43%. So the question to ask is, why are companies adopting cloud CRM? And it's not that cloud CRM is necessarily less expensive, but it's because cloud CRM allows companies to be more agile. It means that they can change their business processes faster to better align with changing customer expectations. For example, if you've got a step in your sales process that's taking too long or incurs too much manual overhead, a sales organization can quickly change it in their CRM to help deliver a better sales experience, a more streamlined process. And this ultimately helps deliver better experiences, which ultimately translate into shorter and to more effective sales cycles and helps drive your company's revenue. Cloud CRM, we see, also lets companies deploy new technologies faster to their salespeople. It lets companies roll out innovation, like new features, new functions, faster. And it gives their salespeople a competitive edge. And it also allows companies to focus on their core differentiators. It allows them to focus resources on the important projects for that company instead of spending their precious resources on implementing and maintaining CRM software and hardware. And so what we see is NetNet Cloud CRM allows companies to make sales organizations much more nimble. And it also helps arm sales organizations with a constant stream of innovation, of new features and functions which they can use as competitive differentiators to help win that deal and to help better engage with their buyers. So another reason why many CRM projects end up not delivering value and not empowering the sales organization with what they need to be able to better interact with their buyers, it's because many times companies are buying CRM for the wrong reasons. And what we see is that typically CRM, and especially sales automation solutions, they're bought by the sales executive to give them better visibility into their customers, for example, or to help executives better manage their overall pipeline or to better forecast. And what we see is that CRM is often purchased as a list of features and functions to better support management in getting their job done. CRM and sales automation solutions aren't often purchased as a tool to make the salesperson's job easier and to make the salesperson's job easier so that they're able to meet the expectations of a modern buyer who's in control of the buying process. And sales automation solutions, again, aren't letting the salesperson deliver upon a modern buyer's expectations for easy, effective engagement that helps establish an emotional bond between the buyer and the sales team. So let's look at what a sales organization needs to support a modern buyer. So in a sales organization, I tend to see three roles. You've got the sales professional, like the field salesperson or inside salesperson, the sales manager or executive, and then sales operations. And so what I want to look at now is the needs for each of these roles and to see whether sales automation solutions and CRM can support these roles so that the sales organization can provide buying experiences in line with their customer expectations. So, the sales professional. And I see the salespeople, whether it's inside sales or field sales, they're struggling during the sales process. They don't often know or always know who their customers really are. They're wasting their time on poor leads that marketing has given to them. They waste their time on identifying the right prospect. They don't have good visibility into the interactions that target companies have had with them. They struggle to have the right conversation with the different stakeholders that they're engaging with during the sales cycle. And they struggle to have the right conversations which help move the deal forward. So they also struggle to identify what value-added products and services make sense to their customer, what other products they can recommend and bundle. And they also struggle to figure out, for example, what's the least amount of discounting to offer to a buyer. And they also struggle with the overhead, the manual overhead in the sales process. And they really want to figure out how to better utilize their time on making phone calls and making those connections instead of the manual overhead that comes with sales processes. So The sales manager, the sales executive, has a whole different set of struggles. What they're focused on is optimizing the performance of their team. And they're struggling with questions like, how do they make salespeople follow consistent or standard processes? Or how do they up-level the quality of their team? How do they make each salesperson as effective as their best performers? They don't always know how to coach or what to coach on. They don't understand when they've lost a deal, why they lost the deal. They struggle with pipeline management and reporting, and they struggle with streamlining the sales process. For example, the quoting process, the discounting process. And sales operations, too, has a whole set of challenges. They struggle to maximize the revenue per contract. They struggle to forecast effectively and accurately. They don't always manage renewals effectively. And they, as well with a sales executive, can't figure out how to optimize the sales process. So because of all that a sales team face, sales organizations are they're using the sales automation software from CRM as a foundational component to manage leads, to manage contacts, to manage accounts. But what we see is once that they have the foundational CRM piece in place, they're extending the power of their core sales automation solutions with a set of point solutions to make their sales team more effective at delivering engagement in line with the modern buyer's expectations. And what we see at Forrester is that companies that have improved upon their technology footprint is allowing salespeople to be more engaged and to deliver better experiences to their buyers. And we see at Forrester, our data shows that companies who have the most engaged employees, the most engaged salespeople, enjoy an 81% higher customer satisfaction rating, and also see a huge improvement in employee turnover. And so when you look at the solutions, these point solutions that extend the power of core CRM, we group these point solutions into 8 technology categories, of which are listed in this diagram on the left-hand part of the screen. So you've got technology categories like sales content management that helps organize sales content according to the sales stage so that the salesperson knows what content to use for what stakeholder at each step of the sales process. You've got a technology category called marketing intelligence, which arms salespeople with up-to-date information about the company so they can have the value-added conversations with salespeople. You've got another category, your configure price quote category, that offers tools to streamline and to automate the quote-to-order process, helping streamline the process and automate manual steps. Now, what we see is that one of the most important categories that extends the power of core sales automation within CRM is what we call the sales acceleration category. And we divide the sales acceleration category into 3 subcategories. And the first category is the productivity category. And productivity tools are used by salespeople to help automate tasks that take up a salesperson's time and make them unproductive. Examples of productivity tools are technologies like phone dialers, pre-recorded voicemails, which speed up outbound communications. And it lets the salesperson be focused on those incoming calls instead of having to manage the volume of outbound communication. productivity tools are tools like ways to help salespeople send emails at the best time of the day when they have the highest chance of being read, to be able to track whether the emails that they send are being read, whether the links are being clicked on, and to be able to track whether an email is forwarded to someone else in the organization. And productivity tools are tools like automated note-taking. So you can speed up the note-taking after a meeting with a prospect, or better calendaring tools, and even management tools like recording and reviewing calls, which lets sales managers pinpoint coaching and training opportunities for their salespeople, which ultimately helps up-level their sales team's performance. Then we've got a category of analytics. There's a subcategory of predictive insights. And the predictive insights use analytics to give salespeople information that they can use to better and to more effectively connect with their prospects. And predictive insights are used to analyze outcomes from historical deals, from historical actions that salespeople have taken, and predict similar outcomes based on similar patterns. And all of that's a little bit obtuse, and that's where prescriptive advice comes in. So prescriptive advice takes the results of all these predictive analytics models and prescribes the best action that a business person should take to drive a real business outcome. And what this means is they take the power of all these analytics and models, and it gets distilled down to recommending an action or a step that a salesperson needs to take to, for example, move a deal forward or to better engage with a buyer. And these prescriptive advices are delivered in line with a process that the salesperson is following. So to help explain what prescriptive advice is, I've got a couple examples of prescriptive advice. So prescriptive advice can be used in a sales context to help your salespeople, for example, understand the quality of an incoming lead so that they don't waste their time on low-quality leads. It helps a salesperson pinpoint the right prospect or connect to the right contact within an organization that is able to move a deal forward. Prescriptive advice as well lets the salesperson know what the most effective collateral is that they should be using, which is dependent on, for example, the buyer's role within an organization and at what stage they are at within the sales process. Prescriptive advice also lets sales operations analyze the success of their sales process and look for opportunities to streamline the sales process to deliver engagement that's easier, that's more effective, that's more in line with a buyer's expectations. Prescriptive advice also helps salespeople understand, for example, what the most effective or best performing product bundles are, what cross-sells, what upsells are suitable for a particular customer. And this is all based on sales, successful sales to similar customers. It helps salespeople pinpoint the right discounting thresholds It helps, which ultimately helps sales organizations maximize the revenue for each contract. It helps salespeople discover the right target market for a particular product based on the volume of successful sales that they've had, based on the attributes of the particular company. It also helps sales managers pinpoint the qualities of a new hire that will make them successful in the organization. It helps sales managers pinpoint opportunities for coaching, for learning, again, to help up-level a sales manager's team performance. And this prescriptive advice, it's advice that's easy to understand. It's not these black box analytics models. And they're delivered as actions, as recommendations that salespeople, that sales managers, that sales ops need to take at a particular point in time. And they're delivered in line within the sales automation tool that the sales organization is using to manage their leads and manage their contacts. So what we find is that CRM, when it's in conjunction with sales acceleration tools, productivity tools, and as well as the predictive models and then the prescriptive advice that comes out of these analytics models, it helps support, this combination of CRM plus sales acceleration helps support a sales organization in delivering better engagement to their prospects, to their buyers. It helps streamline the sales process. It helps figure out where there's opportunities, for example, for automation. It arms sales with targeted recommendations, with the right content, the right information about a company, a stakeholder. It arms them with the right actions that they need to take to be able to deliver that effective engagement that buyers expect out of a sales cycle today. It arms sales with the right data, the right insights at the right time in the sales cycle. Again, and these are targeted recommendations, targeted advice, suitable for the buyer, the particular stakeholder within a company. And again, and it helps salespeople move the conversation forward, again, to deliver engagement in line with customer expectations. And to sum it up, why do you want to provide engagement in line with your buyer's expectations? And it's because good experiences lead to a more connected, a more satisfied, a more loyal customer who will ultimately have a higher lifetime value and who will ultimately act as an advocate for your products, your company, which ultimately helps drive future new sales. So net-net, CRM, extended with the power of sales acceleration, helps make your sales teams more effective. It helps them sell faster. It helps them sell better and to sell bigger. And this translates into a higher revenue for your company. And with that, Ivan, I'll hand it back to you.
Kate, that was excellent. Thank you for sharing that research from what you've completed over at Forrester. Now, Mick, you've always given us great insights. I turn the time over to you.
Great, and thank you for that introduction, Ivan. One of the things I'm most excited about after listening to Kate's presentation there is, number one, that there's acknowledgement from a great firm, a great analyst firm like Forrester, that there is, in fact, a sales acceleration market and category. And, in fact, we did a survey going back just about a year ago and a good deal of research, and it determined that the sales acceleration market is already large and growing. And so if you sort of look at a traditional sales and marketing funnel, up at the top end of the funnel, you've got leads coming in. You've got marketing automation systems driving those from companies like Marketo and HubSpot, ExactTarget and Pardot, now a part of Salesforce, et cetera. And at the bottom end of the funnel, really capturing all of that customer activity, are the CRM systems, Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, et cetera. Right in the middle is this very large and growing segment we refer to as sales acceleration. It's about a $13 billion current spend. We're a part of it, but we're by no means the only company in it. So is DocuSign, Aptus, and many, many others. Really any company that helps take a lead, accelerate it through the funnel, and drive it through into becoming closed business would be a sales acceleration company. Now, taking a little bit more granular look at this and talking explicitly about the elements that InsideSales.com provides, we provide a predictive lead scoring and recommendation engine, opportunity scoring, and now more recently through an acquisition of a company that we made about a year ago, we also provide predictive forecasting and pipeline analysis. And then you can see our friends at Aptus, SteelBrick, and DocuSign and others take over with CPQ, electronic signatures, and further sales automation. So hopefully this makes it a little bit more explicit exactly where InsideSales.com plays. Now, one of the very interesting elements of InsideSales.com is we also sit very uniquely positioned right in the middle of two of the industry juggernauts, Salesforce and Microsoft. And we very intentionally constructed our sales acceleration platform to provide great support for both Salesforce customers as well as Microsoft Dynamics customers. In fact, we'll have both of these two companies at our upcoming Accelerate conference that we have planned for May of this year. More details on that a little bit later. But we're really excited to have these two companies, not only as companies where we participate in their ecosystem, but both of these two firms are investors in InsideSales.com as well. That kind of investment, along with great market presence, terrific products, and terrific people, has helped us to land a number of really amazing marquee clients. These are companies of the ilk of ADP, Marketo that we mentioned just a little while ago, as well as divisions of Dell and Apple with its FileMaker business. I mentioned Aptus and DocuSign. They're both happy customers of InsideSales.com in addition to being business partners. But so are Microsoft, T-Mobile, and more recently, Salesforce.com itself. So InsideSales.com has become an integral part of the sales acceleration stack for some of the largest and most successful organizations in the world. And the way that we've gone about doing that was really based on some foundational thinking done by our CEO and co-founder, Dave Elkington. And Dave really believed that sales had the opportunity to interact or engage with science in a way that it had never done before. And in fact, we in many ways think of ourselves as a company as sort of the money ballers of sales. So we wanted to leverage science and predictive analytics in particular to monitor the activity of your salespeople, to measure the performance that they're having against their core objectives, to motivate them to reach new levels of achievement through both management-delivered motivations as well as peer-to-peer motivations, gamification, if you will, and ultimately resulting in managing their work styles, their workflows, and finally modifying their behavior so that you can reach your ultimate sales potential. Now, interestingly, if you were to put this same set of bullets up, you could very easily be describing a different product and nothing that has anything to do with sales acceleration whatsoever. You could be talking about something like the Fitbit or any wearable technology that instead of trying to measure, monitor, and really drive new behaviors in your sales is trying to drive better health and fitness engagement from you as an individual. So we at InsideSales.com, in many respects, think of ourselves as a giant Fitbit for your sales organization, if you will. And the technology that we have built, the underlying technology that we've built for our sales acceleration platform, the predictive engine underneath all of the applications that we have built, we refer to as Neurolytics. And Neurolytics has, at this point, analyzed literally billions of sales interactions and it is measuring things against these 5 core heuristics. It's measuring against personality characteristics of that potential contact or prospect, demographic characteristics of that individual, geographic, where is that buyer, what company does that buyer work for, what are the weather patterns in that area, firmographic, specific information on the account that particular lead or prospect works for, and finally histographic, looking back at the history of interactions with this particular account or contact and helping to make forward-looking predictions on what might come from these. Now, when we think about Neurolytics, it's not only collecting external or environmental data about contacts and companies, it's also continuously learning from our own sales acceleration apps. And to date, we have now analyzed north of 90 billion sales interactions, making us easily the most comprehensive and complete data set that's out there today that can help inform your salespeople about what to do next. We explicitly want to inform your reps about who they should contact, when they should contact them, once they do reach them, what message they want to deliver to those contacts, and so forth. So inside the InsideSales.com sales acceleration platform is Neurolytics and specifically products that leverage this data set to inform the activities of your salespeople. So let's talk about that in a little bit more detail. We do an awful lot of engagements with companies from the very smallest in size all the way up through some of the largest enterprises in the world, as I mentioned previously. And our predictive analytics platform for sales is all about aligning effort and increasing the performance of your teams. I walk into countless numbers of customer organizations and prospect organizations where people have very, very limited or minimal visibility into the activities of their reps. They also don't have any intelligible way of driving enhanced productivity from their reps. And lastly, they don't have any great ways of driving further efficiency. So let's talk about those 3 a little bit. When you think about what you want to use all of this data for, there are an awful lot of companies out there that might be claiming to have a lot of great data. But it's not really useful unless it's providing you actionable insights. And for us, we really think that there are 3 key attributes here, visibility, productivity, and effectiveness. And those 3 really have helped us design a sales acceleration platform and set of products and technologies that help you achieve these 3 things in ways never before imagined. So let's talk about each one in a little bit of detail. When we walk into the vast majority of organizations that we see a chart that looks a little bit like the one that you see on your screen here. And sadly, what this illustrates is that companies and their sales teams, their sales reps, are spending an equal, if not larger amount of time on the worst quality prospects. And that's disheartening in a lot of different ways. As a sales-driven marketer myself, it's very disheartening to see that my sales teams aren't making better use of the higher quality leads. But in many instances, they have no systems, no manner in which they can be informed about exactly that and working on those higher quality leads. So when inside sales is implemented into an organization, the first thing that we do is begin to align the effort to the higher quality prospects. That increases the capacity of your team. If your team is spending the vast majority of its time on higher quality leads, you obviously get higher yield. In this instance, you begin to get a higher close rate out of these folks. And you're just simply getting more volume of activity out of your sales teams because they're able to spend more time productively chasing the very best leads. Exactly what you heard Kate referring to in her section earlier. Now, if you can get past visibility, just seeing what is going on in your organization at all, and get past productivity, getting the most out of your reps, at that point you can really go for the brass ring and begin to think about going for efficiency and prescribing specific activities for your reps that will align their effort. So when you start talking about going from not just predictive about outcomes, but actually making prescriptive guidance, you can begin to align the effort of your teams further up this close rate curve, as you can see. Then all of your time is being spent on leads that actually have an opportunity to close. It sounds stunningly obvious when presented in this way, yet I am continually awestruck by how few companies take the time and the effort to analyze the data that they have and analyze the prospects that they're working, score them, and then just simply work on the very best opportunities that are presented to them. Our system makes this simple and easy to use for both your sales operations people on kind of the back end, as well as your reps on the front end, where we automatically capture much of their activity for them in the CRM without them having to manually enter it. Now, let's talk a little bit more explicitly about what we have in our sales acceleration platform. So at the very center of everything that we do is this construct we refer to as high-definition data. That's that 90 billion sales interactions and growing every single day that makes our Neurolytic predictive engine that much smarter every time that it's making a prediction or prescribing sales activities for your team. Now, I'm going to begin at the top right of this, as I laughingly refer to it, this wheel of fortune here. So up at the top right, you'll see predictive, lead, and account scoring. So the first thing that our platform enables you to do is to score both the leads, in other words, the contacts, as well as the accounts, the contacts that those leads may work for, and determine right out of the chute in an automated fashion what's actually got an opportunity to close and within what time period. Next, we begin to prescribe explicit sales activities. All right, now that you know that the contact is a 90 on their likelihood to buy on a scale of 1 to 100, what's the likelihood that you can actually contact them? So we actually score and rank contactability as well. And so when we start prescribing sales activities, we're not just going to stack rank all of the opportunities that are at larger than a 90. We're also going to score based on contactability. Now, when I start thinking about prescriptive sales activities, I start thinking about things like who to call, when to call, what message do I want to deliver, etc. I also am thinking about what kind of an email cadence I might want to set up for follow-up with that particular prospect. And lastly, I'm thinking about how do I gamify this experience? How do I ensure that the activities of my top reps are being emulated by other reps and I'm keeping those competitive juices flowing? So all three of those things would fit into the prescriptive sales activities bucket. Next, we begin, now that we've performed an activity, we've reached the contact, we've decided that they're a qualified opportunity, we want to get prescriptive about which opportunities can close within a given quarter or whatever the given time period is that you're working within. So at this point, we're no longer just scoring a lead or a prospect. Now we're going to score the actual opportunity. So the rep, the closer on the other end of this, can make a determination as to whether or not they should be working on account X or account Y this week, based on which one is most likely to close. Once the rep has made that determination and we've come out the other side with that opportunity score, those opportunities begin to feed into the company's pipeline. They begin to feed into the outlook that that particular rep and that particular sales organization has. Last, but certainly not least, we provide predictive forecasting. This one is absolutely huge because I don't know about all of you out there on the in virtual webinar land there, but in many companies that I've worked with and worked for over the years, Forecasting is still a bit of a black art. It's a bit of a dart-throwing exercise, if you will. And we have technology that, again, through leveraging that HD data and that Neurolytics predictive platform, can be approximately 80% accurate on the first day of the quarter in determining your forecast versus waiting to get to that level of accuracy until you're in the final week or two of a quarter or a month or whatever measurable time frame that you're in. So those 5 elements there that I've just described make up the InsideSales.com sales acceleration platform. Now, we partner with other companies that provide customer success, lead generation tools, and the like. Those aren't businesses that InsideSales.com is currently in, but they're absolutely an important and integral part of the full customer life cycle, and so we wanted to represent those on the screen for all of you today. When you break this down into the actual products, let's get to what we really do here. They align quite nicely, and we make these each of these point products that I'm going to refer to here available in a very easy-to-consume bundle that you can check out on our pricing page anytime you'd like to. So up here at the top right, again, you see NeuralView. That's that predictive lead, account, and contactability score that I referred to earlier. Next, you see products for automating the dialing, emailing, and gamification process. Power Dialer, our Vision product for email and web-based tracking, and Power Standings, our sales gamification product. Next, you see NeuralView coming back into the equation again, as well as our Sales Advisor offerings for scoring that opportunity. Finally, pipeline management and forecasting are handled by our HD Forecast product line. So a very rich, robust, and complete set of products for accelerating sales all the way through the cycle for you, and really taking advantage of both automating the process for your reps, creating increased visibility for your management, increased productivity among your sales teams, and lastly, better outputs for your sales teams. And for the companies that have really bought in a significant way to what we're doing with sales acceleration, they've seen some pretty phenomenal results that have really helped them to, in effect, sell more. And on average, companies who adopt our sales acceleration tools and technologies, and at least at the organizations within those companies, see anywhere between a 15 and a 30% lift to their revenues, typically within a pretty abbreviated period of time. So, with that, I will close things out. Hopefully you've gotten a richer understanding of the sales acceleration marketplace altogether, and explicitly how InsideSales.com can help accelerate business for all of you. So I would like to thank you very much. I believe I'm now going to hand it back over to my friend and colleague, Ivan Hurt, who will take things from here and engage in a bit of Q&A with all of you. Thank you very much.